Welcome to Shade in the City. I'm your girl, Treese.
It's Nose.
And today, y'all, we are here to give you our recap of the 90 Day Fiancé Season 11, Episode 12, Blinded by Love. Don't understand that title. But, yeah, we welcome you, all of our 90 Day Shade Squad. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
And y'all, let's jump right into it. And because it's late and we've been up here talking backstage and we let the time go by, y'all. But yeah,
on here yesterday recording. We had so much to catch up on.
Yeah, we did. But let's get into it, y'all, and let's get shady.
So you mentioned the title. What couple do you think the title is referring to? I have my thoughts. Who do you think?
Damn, now that you say that, I'm gonna say I definitely think it's about Stevi and Madhi. I'd say it's Leah and Shawn. I think Mina. And I also think Sarper and the other couple. So technically everybody.
I really thought it was only about the throuple. Because I felt like everybody else, I wouldn't say is blinded by love. They are like kind of realizing, the BS.
Okay. Look at Nels getting deep.
And really with the throuple, it's them that's blinded by her BS, by Ani's BS. And everybody else.
That's what it is. That's what it is, y'all. But
everybody else, I feel like the other couples are kind of seeing the BS.
Okay, now let's look out here. Got us deep thinking. Speaking of this, is not the couple. I'm
sorry. Look, not that throuple.
Wrong road. Let's get into Matt, Amani, Matt, and so it's. I keep want to say Amani. Amani is what they say. Amani.
That ain't how she said it.
So, Amani, Matt, and Annie. All right. Amani feels like. What happened?
I said Brenda.
You stupid. Oh, did I miss something? Because I didn't hear him call her Brenda yet.
No, it was for the preview for next week.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I thought that's what honestly made me mad about this episode. And if I had to rate it, I probably would have given it a 6 because I felt like they're lingering on. We already know the girl named Brenda. Why are we stretching this out?
Like you keep on seeing the preview, but we ain't seeing the episode.
Right. It makes me mad. So anyway, because this is the only reason I was even somewhat excited about this episode. So Amani feels like, after she shared with Matt what Ani said, that it kind of drove a wedge between the two. So she feels like, I want to set them up on a date. Just Ani and Matt. All right. So things are a bit awkward at first after Amani leaves. And Matt admits that he's still holding on to what he was told. And however, he wants to move past it and build a relationship. So he finally breaks down and tells Ani that, Amani told me what you said. Okay. And he said, it made me a little jealous. And so Ani tells him that she needs to feel him first. Okay. And basically, I said, feel him.
I was like, you did the other day, girl. How much you need?
Right. And basically she just wants a little bit more attention from him. She said, look, I know you got a wife. But I want the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And so Matt tries to explain to her that although Amani is his wife, she may be one day as well. And and I'm opening up my whole life to you. So Ani tells him that, I appreciate this talk. And I don't know if anybody else felt this way. Y'all feel free to drop in the comments. I felt like Ani was on some bull.
Oh, I feel like really the only reason why she said that she likes her more is because she wanted to move past that mess. So all this other stuff that she making up is BS. And she can't tell him that because then she gonna piss off Amani again.
Right. So, she said she wants to know that he feels for her and said that, she's not there to be their doll. And then she tells him that she needs time alone with him. So then they go for a walk on the beach, and Matt says that he's starting to feel optimistic about their situation. So then he returns only for Amani to be like, "Oh, I'm happy that y'all are in a better place, but let me tell you what I got planned. I decided that I was going to hit up Ray. Ray is Annie's ex-boyfriend, and apparently the money that they have been sending Annie, they have been sending to Ray's account." I don't know if anyone else had this thought, but it was definitely giving pimp hoe vibes.
So I thought that, but then it would be like, well, if that's the case, so why would you be messing up the money? Because if you get a cut, why mess up the money?
I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, they plan to go meet up with Ray, and Matt is just a little confused because he's like, "Well, I thought we was trying to get it together, and now you over here trying because she's gonna be mad when she find out." And Amani's like, "Well, I don't give a damn because I need to know, and she's gonna be mad, but it is what it is." So they've decided that they're gonna meet Ray, and then Ray shows up, and they said, "Damn, this is not what we expected."
It's not what I expected either.
Ray looked like Tito.
All right, so next up is Sarper and Shekinah.
Hold on. Give me time.
So, we left off with them in their argument. So Sarper came back in the house and asked her if she wanted to talk. She was like, I mean, if you got something to say, I'll listen. And he was like, no, this is a two-way conversation. It ain't just me talking. But he started the conversation by saying that he still believes that they're 1 in a million who swiped right on the site. Sorry, he said he's feeling weak, okay, because he can't work and he's just a dog sitter. And she was like, you do realize I ain't the one that made the rules, but I'm the one being punished.
Well,
okay? And he told her, he was like, you don't like me anymore, okay? And he said, that everything has changed, he's been depressed. And she was like, dude, you've been in LA loving it, okay? But for the past 2 days, I've been hard to live with, and so are my dogs, and I'm bringing negativity in your life. He said, I just said those things out of anger. But, I don't recognize you. You're not the girl I met in Turkey. He said in Turkey, this girl was obsessed with him, and she would never, or I'm sorry, hardly ever use a harsh tone with him. And she said, the version that you get of me depends on how you treat me. I said, oh, Shekinah.
Okay. I was here for Shekinah for that. I said, girl.
Okay, Shekinah. Okay. And now she says,
do you feel like she was more docile in Turkey though?
In the beginning, I think, because I think we even talked about it towards the end when she was in Turkey. I think this is the same Shekinah, because we was like, Shekinah done changed a little bit, but
right,
at the end, she was still in Turkey. Now she said that she doesn't even know if she wants to get married, and he told her, if you break up with me, you'll cry for years for me. And she said, I ain't no helpless woman who can't survive without you. I'm not gonna cry for years.
Bookie, I love when she said, I'm already thinking about I could be more compatible with somebody else.
Yeah, when she said, I said, okay, Shekinah. And he said, he's walking on eggshells. And she's like, okay, if it's too hard for you, then leave. She said, if you can't handle it, no one's forcing you to stay. And he said, I don't even know what to say, because when I say something, you tell me don't say that or don't be romantic. And she said, that tells me all I need to know. Okay. The man I'm with doesn't know what I need to hear in this moment, doesn't know what to say, doesn't know how to behave, and doesn't know how to treat me right. I said, Shekinah.
Well,
let me tell you something. She got an answer for everything. She got a rebuttal for everything. But I like what's coming out her mouth. Okay. And, he said, people can fight and argue, but you're so bad at fixing it. And she was like, oh, and then he told her that she has zero compromising skills. She said, what do I need to fix? What did I do wrong in this situation? So he said, he's not homesick, but he misses having his freedom. And she said, you have so much freedom here. You're literally gone for hours, and I don't know where the hell you're going. He said that he doesn't understand. He said that she doesn't understand what he's going through. Now, I did feel him when he said this, because when she came to Turkey, his home was her home even more than his own, and his family treated her like family. I said, well, that could make a lot of difference. And he told her that he doesn't want to lose this relationship because it is 1 in a million, and if he loses it, he won't find another one. But it is too difficult. And she said, okay, then why are you in this relationship if you're so miserable? And he said, because I love you. She said, I'm sitting here thinking I could find a better relationship than this. And he told her, he said, I am the perfect match for you. She said, I want to be treated well and not like crap because you're having a bad day.
And hey, I love Sarper, but Sarper's starting to give a little stalker tease.
Oh, yeah. So she asked him,
like, if I can't have you, nobody else can tease.
But in a cocky way.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then she's like, well, why aren't you apologizing? And he said, I'm human, and I say sorry every day. And he said, it was never about you. And she said, okay, but even if it wasn't about me, I suffered. And then he told the girl that she's rude, and that's our problem. So she said, you know what? I am done with this conversation. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and excuse myself. And in the confessional, she said she never even wanted to get married. And it was a huge decision from going from not wanting to be married to agreeing to marry someone. And now she feels foolish.
And that's why you probably shouldn't do it for a visa.
Well, I mean, we could say the same thing about what's his face?
Who?
Shawn.
Well, that part. No.
He's really doing it for a visa also.
Right. All right, so let's hop over to the happy couple, which is Greg and Joan. I love seeing
I am happy for them.
I am very happy for them, but they probably have this much. So Greg and Joan, they outside washing the dogs. Joan admits that she's starting to love them, and she's never washed dogs before. So then Greg gets a phone call, and he runs while Joan runs around the yard trying to catch these dogs now. And he returns.
Not let him sleep in the bed.
Right. So Greg returns and tells Joan that, hey, by the way, I got the job.
Kudos.
Congratulations, confetti. And so Joan is happy and says that I'm just happy she's not going back to Uganda. Okay. So Greg is planning to take Joan for a night in New York. And I love this, because I just love nights in New York, in Manhattan. It's just great. So he's teaching her all the lingo. He knows he shouldn't be spending the money, but he wants to celebrate his new job and the fact that Joan's not leaving. So he's showing her around, and Joan absolutely loves it. She says seeing the yellow cabs, remind her of movies. And then the only thing that I was a little disappointed in you, Greg, about was, I don't know where you went, but when you took her to get this New York slice, I felt like you didn't do Joan just like you didn't do it right. Okay. Because that pizza looked real stiff. Now, I don't know if it was real late in the middle of the night. Because
it was probably one of the places where they have it like sitting out and it just.
I was gonna say, because to me, my memory, and y'all correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, my memory, and I know sometimes people, like you said, they be having sitting out. My memory of a New York slice is when you hold it, the cheese be sliding off and in your mouth, and that be the best part. Yeah, the cheese be so fresh, it be sliding off the pizza.
That's just a fresh slice. That's just a fresh slice.
Yeah, but and she loved it. She said that's the best pizza she ever had in her life. She said she had pizza in Uganda before, but it wasn't like that. So Joan is just grateful, to be out there with some alone time away from his mama and them dogs. And then he leaves her in the lobby, and it was really cute. He makes the room up for her for a night of romance. Has the rose petals and the champagne, and So Joan actually at this point is starting to feel bad for being so hard on him. And I was like, no, girl, it was because you were hard on him that he actually stepped up and did what he needed to do. So boo boo. If anything, give yourself a round of applause, dog. Okay. But yeah, that was Greg and Joan, y'all. Greg and Joan. Let's go to Jessica and Juan.
Jessica and Juan. All right. So they are going to look at the wedding venue. She said it's winter. And you know,
he irritated me a little bit.
He irritated me a little bit too. She said, you know, it's winter, and they, you know, this time of the year wouldn't have been their first choice, but you know, they're in a time crunch. It did look beautiful. But then she started talking about how the guests would be sitting outside and snow drizzles and have on blankets. And I don't understand, if it's that cold, why wouldn't they just move it inside? And he's talking about his family.
I guess because they want the outdoors, but if you know, but they don't know. I guess they have to be ready, like on point if it is to snow. But I get what you're saying. Just have it inside. Like, why are we even doing this
in the winter, in the snow? That's like for spring and summer. I don't know. And then I'm under the assumption that maybe his family's coming because, you know, he was wondering how his family would feel about this. He said, you know, they're used to nice weather and, you know, like it being like a party, like a carnival. And he said, you know, there's nothing Colombian around here. It's very American. So she asked him, what does he need to make it more Colombian? And he said, you know, they wear thin white shirts called galleras
or something like that. I get that was a hard word. Even the way it slid off his tongue, I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm. Then the lady said, you know, if all else fails and there's a blizzard and like negative 60 degrees, then we'll move it inside. I need less. No, I just need if it's cold for you to move it inside. And then, you know, she says that she's aggravated because they've been planning this wedding for 2 years. And now he's talking about the things that he wants to incorporate in the wedding. So she lets him know about it when they get back in the car. But he asked him, what does he want to incorporate? And she said, you know, we really only have 90 days. So, you know, we kind of need to, you know, stick with this place and it's within budget. And he said, you know, we have to pay for it and I'm not even working, I'm broke, and which makes me even more stressed. And then in confessional, he said that he got a call from the cruise ship and it's tough because he loves his job and he knows it's something that he needs to tell Jessica, but he's worried it's going to upset her, and it definitely is. And I wonder if that means that would have to push back their wedding.
I didn't think that. I think he would leave after the wedding. I think just in general, she's going to be upset because I don't know what, because he wants, and you know, he cheated on her on the true cruise ship. So that's going to add even, you know, more to it.
I mean, cruise ship in the house. I mean, he's still home alone all day. If he has the
well, no, he got babies. He got babies on home. I mean, not that gives it. Men don't care. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if he has the tendencies and he wants to do it, he's gonna find a way. So Juan went to the gym. He said he loves working out because back in the day he used to be skinny and they ain't want him, and now he hot and they all on. Ooh. Okay. Then Megan's husband. I didn't know Megan was married. I didn't know she was married. I just thought she was some crazy single weird lady.
If I was Megan's husband, I would be concerned how with this obsession with Juan
and
Jessica
and right. Jessica. So yeah,
look, Madhi ain't the only one that need to be concerned.
So then Megan's husband Herbie shows up, which is apparently really good friends with Juan. And they are planning a bachelor trip for him and said that, you know, there's plenty of surprises in store. They're taking him to an area called Deadwood, which is, he said, a party and gambling town. And he feels like it'll feel more like home for him since it's, you know, like the cruise ship environment, and asked him if he likes to gamble. And he said, yeah, but he ain't got no money. So Herbie said, boy, don't worry about that. Okay, this is all for you. Just show up. And Juan said, but he needs money. He needs to get a job. But, you know, with this process, he has to wait until they get married. Then Herbie told him the jobs out there kind of suck. You know, they keep you covered in poop, and the bartender jobs don't really tip much. So, he said when he first started his cruise job, he didn't really know what to expect, but he ended up loving it, and he wants to feel complete in the job that he's in. So he mentioned it to Herbie, and how he wish, he could just do another cruise contract. And Herbie reminds him, this is not what Jessica wants you to do. Plus, she'd be taking care of everything by herself. But it is good money. And apparently this man didn't even quit the job. He is continuing to get text messages from the boss asking him to go back to his old job. Now, he says that he knows that it'll make Jessica very sad, but he'll also be miserable not having a job. And Herbie said, I think she'll be upset that you're even thinking about it. And that is absolutely correct, Mundo, sir.
Yeah, there's that. There is that, isn't it? However, I just feel like, don't get me wrong, but I didn't even think about it until just now. That means that Juan has clearly probably been helping her pay bills. He's probably been sending money to her while he's been out. Like, because mind you, he said he was out there for 4 years.
Mm. Well, I mean, they do have a kid together. I would hope he was.
No, I know. I would hope so too. But it gives me the vibe. You know how most of the time we see these people sending these people, the other person, money. But it sounds like he was actually. So I get where he's coming from. And as a man, yeah, I need to be able to work. And if I can't work, and this is the only way I can help bring money into the home, me sitting here all day with these kids.
But I wonder, does that affect his visa?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. But y'all can answer it for us in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, virtual co-host. All right. Let's go into Mina. Mark is gone because he decided to go on a job for 5 days. So she said that she is bored as hell at the house. And she said bored in the house and bored. And what is it? Bored in the house, sitting in the house, bored.
Yeah.
And so, and then she's also not liking seeing all the pictures of his ex-wife. It makes her feel
damn.
Right. She says she feel like she's being watched. And then she starts going through, I guess, his office, and she starts going through the drawer and looking through photos. And I love it when she finds a photo of Kamala. And Mina wants to know, who is this woman? Mark is gonna need to explain to me who this is and why she is in the picture with him.
I said, oh my goodness, really?
It literally, I ain't gonna hold you. That really did tickle me.
But I mean, you know what? We don't stay up to date on your country. Okay.
Right. I don't know who your prime minister or whatever
exactly
is. So she goes over to visit her neighbor's the crochet lady. And she's having trouble finding a house. So she calls Mark and tells him that she's lost. He directs her in French how to get there, which I thought was nice. So then Martini Pat says that when she first met Mina, she knew that she needed a stitch and bitch. Okay. So that's why they have drinks, why they crochet and talk. And so the women talk about, how all of the men that they're with are type A because they're pilots. And it's a lot to deal with. So they asked Mina what she's been up to and what she does when Mark is off working. And Mina says she just stay at home and watches TV and sleeps. And they're like, oh, that sounds depressing. So they feel, they all feel bad for her. And Mina talks about visiting Mark's family and how she really doesn't get along with them and mentions how they, want her to sign a prenup. Pat's daughter calls it out and says, well, they just want to make sure you don't get any of his money. And so Pat makes it clear she needs to protect herself and her kids. And, Mina understands the prenup is not just for the family, but also for her. And she just wants to know exactly what she's signing. She said that she is willing to sign under one condition, and that's if he adopts her son, which I thought was a legitimate condition. So then Pat starts to get emotional and says that, a woman being in her position, with 2 kids, and she's just, counting on him and she could lose everything. And so then, of course, we see Amina get emotional and about everything that she's given up. And Pat's daughter tells her that Mark needs to have her back, basically, when it comes to the family and everything else. And so Mina says if Mark decides not to adopt Clayton, then she's ready to pack her bags and go. So I ain't mad at her.
It didn't look too good in the next upcoming episode.
Right.
Next up is Madhi and Stevi. So Marty still didn't get a direct answer about Stevie's sexuality, so he's still feeling some type of way. And she
Basically.
basically said that she's not apologizing because she don't feel like she did anything wrong. But then she went to get him a smoothie. What?
I'm sorry. I made sausage and onions and peppers, and it was just sitting there getting cold. But
As per usual.
mm-hmm. Do you think she's bisexual?
I wouldn't say that she's bisexual, but do I believe that she's had an experience before? I do. I think she's curious.
Agree. I think she's bi-curious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, because to me, and I'm not trying to chop up your whole, because there really didn't have that much, but to me, it was kind of like, you're still not saying, and he
Mm-hmm.
wants to feel some type of security. And the fact that you keep doing these word circles
And you're
around,
like, oh, it's ridiculous that you're even asking. That's your opinion. And I'm
right?
the one feeling insecure about it. So it's not ridiculous to me.
And the
And
fact when he was like, okay, you said that, you said no, and then she kept going. I was like, no, this really bothered. And here's my thing: it's not gonna bother me if that's not again. If it doesn't apply, let it fly.
you know what? You know what really got me is when he said, when she's trying to get me to believe something, she will swear, she will, you know, like stay true to it. And then,
Right.
but this, she's not doing that. She's like, well, whatever you want to believe. Like I was just like, well, I said he pegged you there, girl. So yeah, so she went to go get him a smoothie with protein and hoping that it'll open the floor for them to have a conversation. And he just wants her to answer honestly whether she's bisexual or not, because he's feeling like she just may want to get married and then let him know afterwards. And he doesn't want to feel trapped. So when she got back to the house, she called him to come outside so they can go for a walk and talk. And then she found out that he was watching their soccer team against, I guess, a rival team, and it's the biggest game, and he didn't tell her about it. So she's like, "Oh, you mad?" And he like, "I am."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and did.
I
And
love the way he said it. He said, "I am." Yeah.
And she said, even though he comes from a conservative family, she's always felt like he was open-minded. So she's surprised that he's hung up on this whole sexuality thing and said that he needs to trust her or leave her because if it's really an issue, she don't know if she want to be with him anyway. So he asked her the question again, and she told him no, but he noticed that she was bothered. And she said she doesn't want to keep on having this conversation being brought up every time she's painting somebody. Well, it wouldn't have kept on being brought up if you just gave a direct answer, which you never did. And he's trying to make her understand that, he's like, if I had other sexual desires and didn't tell you about them, would you want to know now or would you want to know after the wedding? And she said, later on, if I do feel some type of way, then I will definitely let you know. And he said, I don't want there to be a later on. Okay. I don't want to
I
know.
feel like so what's so funny? I feel like they're having the same argument, just a different subject, because she wanted to feel like he's not going to change his mind later on and leave and want to go home. And he wants to feel like you're not going to change your mind and decide that you want to be with a woman later on. They both want the same thing.
I mean, I feel like with the proposal and going to ask your dad for your hand in marriage, I feel like it's a little bit more security than she's offering him.
I agree with you. I don't disagree with that at all. Like I said, I didn't in this moment. I did not like Stevie's attitude towards it. I didn't think it was warranted, and that's why I asked you that question. And Shade Squad, feel free to weigh in. I mean, I ain't trying to put nothing on nobody. I just think that if it's that's not what you like, it's just simple no. And if you're bi-curious and said, well, I've thought about girls,
it's not ridiculous because other people have thought it about you,
right?
So
Clearly.
it's really not that ridiculous. So she lets him know that she doesn't want anybody else but him, and he said, I just want to know, no, I just want to be enough forever. And she said, You're not going to get anything else out of me other than I love you and I want to be with you, and that's it. I feel like if I tell you I want to know that I'm going to be enough forever, and you
Right.
can't tell me that, even if you don't know what forever looks like, I need to know that you believe it now.
Amen. Woo! Woo!
You just say all you're going to get out of me is I love you and I want to be with you. Why are we doing this?
Right.
So in the confessional, he said he's known Stevie for a long time. And if she wants him to believe something, she'll insist on it and she'll swear on it. But when it comes to her being bisexual or not, she's always saying, no, are you happy now? Just let it go. I said, well, okay, well, I mean, you know your woman. And it's giving if it quacks like a duck.
Well, all right, let's move on to Shawn and Alliya. So here's another couple that just needs to hang it up. So Shawn and Alliya are wedding planning. Alliya shares her visions for Max during the wedding. She has a whole little look plan for him. Jean, I guess she's going for. And so she's asking him how he feels about the wedding. Oh no, he asked her. I apologize. He asked her how she feels about the wedding, and she says she's excited. And you know, and he asked, well, are you having second thoughts? And of course, we know she doesn't understand that. So once he explains to her what it means, Alliya admits that she wants to continue to transition. She's struggling, I guess, apparently with intimacy. She's not happy with her body. And she wants to feel a certain way in the bedroom, but also make herself happy. So she lets him know that she has already made an appointment with a doctor about this, clearly with his money.
That's what I'm saying. You just now telling him, and you made an appointment, and
right. I mean, he got it, so it's not a but still. So Shawn,
you already got access to it. I mean, like,
so Shawn doesn't like that she isn't really talking to him about that type of stuff. To Nels's point, you just making appointments, and so Shawn, because I don't think you would have any insurance if you can't even get a job. You definitely ain't got no insurance. I don't.
That's not covered under insurance trees. That's
that part. Okay,
that's cosmetic. That's an elective. That's an elective procedure.
That's an elective surgery, right? Yes. So Shawn asks if she wants him to go, and Alliya's like, "Yeah, I do." And so he says in confessional that honestly, he's trying to be supportive, but there has to be some limits to this. He said, "I don't think the marriage will survive if she keeps changing." He said, "I don't." And I think we've already said this. So as they're at the consultation with the doctor, Leah's all excited because this is her first big step in her transition, and Shawn is not sharing the same sentiments. It was written all over his face. Okay. And he says that it's difficult for him because the closer she moves away from Douglas, or no, I'm sorry, the closer she moves to Alliya, the further away she moves from Douglas. And he lies to the doctor and says he wants Alliya he literally lied to the doctor and said, I want Alliya to achieve the goal of, whatever she wants to be. I want her to be happy. That makes me happy. And we know that's not true.
I don't think that's a lie. I think he does want her to be happy and be who she wants to be. That doesn't mean that once it happens, he plans to be with her. But I think he does want her to achieve the goal. And even why he would be willing to pay for it. He just doesn't believe that he would be still attracted to her at that point.
Well, so Shawn wants her to be honest if she wants to get a gender reassignment surgery, and thinks Alliya should make that clear. Because Shawn said, I fell for a man, and he doesn't know how to feel once that's erased. And I said, well, that's a huge problem, but I think we've already said that. I don't think there's too much to, I mean, he wants what he wants. He like what he like, and that's why they in an open relationship now, and she don't like it. So how does she think that that's going to change if he likes what he likes?
And that's the thing. He likes what he likes, and she knows who she wants to be. So they're both kind of on their own journey in there. That's really why I can say it's not going to last.
No, it's not going to last. And that's why if the previews are right. And I was thinking about that when I was watching it too. I said, I bet they going to do some sideways stuff and pull a wool over our eyes, and it don't really be like that, and then she end up showing up late or something like that and actually showing up at the wedding. But I really hope these two, and I know that sounds terrible, I really hope these two don't get married.
Yeah, because I think they're on two separate journeys.
Right. Agreed. All right, y'all. But y'all drop down in the comments. Let us know what you thought. We apologize for being late with these recaps with the 90-day, but we will get up to speed. Well, I mean, we're not too late. You'll understand what I'm saying when it happens. Okay. If you know, you know. All right. But yeah, y'all. So we appreciate you. If you haven't already, please make sure that you've hit that like button.
Make sure you comment.
Make sure that you guys subscribe.
And you hit the notification bell.
Make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the Blue Sky, TikTok, IG, and the Facebook, y'all. And we will catch you next week for another round of the 90-day. Keep in mind, I'm putting y'all on notice. Church announcements. I guess I'll give it at the end. Your girl is going on vacation. So yes, the next 90 days is going to be very late because I ain't even going to be thinking about a 90-day. I'm going to be in Costa Rica with sloths in rainforest somewhere. Okay. Okay. But I love you, mean it. So yeah, y'all, we appreciate y'all, and we will catch you next week for another recap of the 90-day fiance. Have a good night. Bye-bye.